the protest we were going to do, but I did it in a way that would draw some attention, because this woman was losing her children, her husband's in the hospital, and she's screaming she doesn't know what to do. And I didn't know how to help her. And I had the same sympathy for her, because I was going through a similar thing. I mean, I lost my home, and I was having a hard time with my marriage, and eventually, you know, a person snaps.
Now, just to summarize everything that happened that day of the hunger strike, etc., anything following, you mentioned that the mayor at the time had come to visit you.
Yeah, one Sunday morning when we were just getting up to start the day, it was about 4:30 in the morning. You have to understand, when we're doing a hunger strike, people were coming by honking, and of course we would get limited sleep. But however, Sunday morning, Mayor at the time, Bill Smith, came by and stopped in front of our tent, and I happened to be standing outside the tent just getting up, and he waved me over. He rolled his window down and asked me to come over. So I approached the vehicle, and he said, "How would you like to go for a coffee this morning?" I said, "Well, okay, I'll have a coffee with you." "Wait, I said, "But I got my friend Ralph in the tent there." He said, "Well, ask him if he wants to go." I asked Ralph. Ralph was still too tired, and he said, no, go ahead. I went for a ride with Mayor Bill Smith. He basically said to me that what I was doing was not wrong, and that I was on public land, and he had no problem with it. However, he did warn me to make sure that the sidewalk in front of where we were protesting, that the sidewalk remained free so that people can still move about. I agreed to that, and I said, "Listen, there'll be no violence. There'll be no breaking the laws. We're here to peacefully demonstrate and protest."
And so we protested in '99.
No,
it has to do with the devastation of families. When, I mean, having experienced being put out in the streets there a number of times with my own children, and experiencing the devastation that causes with their emotions and the way that we live, even my own emotions and that anger is around those children, and it destroys even their future, being around people that, and I was their caregiver. This really bothers me, and this is part of the reason why I do what I did.
So many people out there that are probably experiencing what you're experiencing. They're experiencing a devastation of family security. And their children are paying a price for this.
Well, it's hard enough to bring up children in this day and age, but when you're under this amount of stress and bombardment, I would put it, from those people that are supposed to be there to help and protect you. Like, I got to tell you, I am very naive, or have been over the years, my younger years. Now, that could be from lack of education and truly believing that, you know, like people's hearts are there for one another. And then to find out that those people that we elect or wish to be in charge are actually teaching people to be prudent against their own citizens.
So you basically back then you had tried to take steps to make sure violent activities or even peaceful aggression situations like what happened with Mr. Patrick Clayton, where he went in and but peacefully held hostages at bay. That was being discussed way back in 2003, prior to the police in 2007's latest drill being prepared.
It was actually brought up in our protest in '99, and then we actually stated it to the courts that there was going to be a problem.
Okay, and as far as everything that you've done, all this positive effect, you've done all these things for all these innocent people, these victims, and instead of being rewarded for it, people have been harmed.
Well, the system has gotten worse. And so, yeah, you know, we stand we stand up and we say the system is corrupt. But, you know, every individual who gets injured, ends up with a long-term injury claim, can get denied, and that was your income, and if you can't go out to work again, it affects your family, and once it starts to get into the roots of your family, it's a hellish life to live. And people do desperate things
In desperate times.
at desperate times. And W.C.B. fully knows that what they're doing is going to lead to these type of situations with injured workers, and they continue to do it. However, it still affects 30,000 claims a year. And we're not talking about short-term injury claims.
When you say 30,000 claims, you're talking about 30,000 people, human beings,
30,000 people.
are being affected.
Of
Who are
course,
just called clients to WCB.
yeah, of course, they call it as a number, and they give you a number, and then you get what they call a claim.
But those 30,000 people may have children, so really
That's
the
right.
actual pain that's being inflicted is
Could be
beyond
60, 70, 80,000. Who
And
knows?
it is affecting children, the innocent,
course.
that can't fight back right now. So really, they're putting a lot of children at stake, their liberties and their education and their securities at stake over principles of basically money.
And this is with the blessing
That's
of our
what
government.
we found, yeah.
Now, every level of government knows that this is taking place, and they've done nothing to change it.
Long story short, you believe that the potential for another event like Patrick Clayton's could occur again in the future the way things are going.
Of course, the system
course.
has not changed. It's got worse.
Would it be fair to say we got lucky with Patrick Clayton, that maybe it wasn't somebody with a Timothy McVeigh mentality and wanted to blow up the Oklahoma City building?
Emotionally, people are different.
That's
you know,
right.
some of them would resort to doing something like
So
that.
that's what I want to ask. Are we playing Russian roulette with the community? That's sooner
That's
or later.
exactly what's happening.
Well, we all have to look into our hearts, and we have to see if we have the compassion and possibly the wisdom to use that compassion to help those that are in need. I believe there's a lot of people out there that are in need. If we don't have those that are in power listening
And helping.
to the pain and the suffering of the people that they're supposedly serving, then I think everybody has to really sit back and have a look. Who are these people that we're asking to actually, we're giving our power to them.
Okay, if we could get your name for the record, it's Anthony. What's your last name, Anthony?
Hughes, H-U-G-H-E-S.
Yeah, how long have you been investigating the W.C.B. and how long have you been doing that for?
Since early 2002.
2002, and you've compiled quite a list of information.
Yeah, we've collected audio, video, documentations, and most importantly, hard copies of email communications I've been able to obtain that very few people, if any, other than myself, have ever been able to obtain.
Well, and what have you learned from your investigation? What have you obtained? What would be the predominant thing you've learned about the W.C.B.?
The most important factor is the withholding and destruction of people's personal and medical information while the adjudication and hearing process is underway.
Okay, so let's slow that down. So it's the destruction of
Medical and personal information that the W.C.B. has on file pertaining to each claimant.
and why would they be doing that?
They're biasing the outcomes. Plain and simple. That's the only reason that you would cherry pick files, you would withhold